Hi there, I'm Pastor John from New Life Assembly, and I'm happy to finally continue our Deuteronomy series. I took a couple days off because I had some troubles with the app that I used to do the video, but I want to get back into chapter 4 of Deuteronomy, and let's take a look at this whole chapter. We've been talking about Deuteronomy, and one of the things I want to stress today, actually two of the things, we talked about different ways of interpreting the book of Deuteronomy, and one of them was to interpret it as a retelling of the law, and it comes from the name of the book, Deuteronomy. Deutero from the Greek, which means twice, and nomos, which means law, the second law, or the retelling of the law. So what I want to do is I want to talk about chapters 4 and 5 in this way, because what you're going to see in 4 and then especially in 5 is a retelling of what we call the Decalogue. This is the 10 words, or the 10 commandments, as many know them today. And so you can see behind me today, in our image of the day, in our image for this video and the next video, this is a representation of Mount Sinai in the moment in Exodus 18 and 19 where the presence of God came down upon the mountain, and God visited his people physically and spoke to them with his own voice when he gave the 10 commandments in Exodus chapter 20. And so this is a representation of what it may have looked like. I'm sure it's much more awesome than this picture shows us, but this will help us to see, in a sense, the awesomeness of God. And that should be the background for studying chapters 4 and 5 in Deuteronomy as well. Because when we study the law, we get so into talking about the law itself that we forget about the one who gave the lawgiver. And so I want to focus on that. First thing that you'll see in Deuteronomy chapter 4 when you read through it yourself is you will see Moses talk about keeping the law, observing the law, and he'll talk about the importance of the law in Israel's life and in their history. Now, on tomorrow's video in Deuteronomy 5, we're going to talk about the law in great detail because we will highlight the 10 commandments tomorrow. But for today, we're going to focus on the background of the law, and the first thing that we need to realize is that it was through obeying the law. When the people would obey the law, they would live well in the land. This is the promise of Deuteronomy. This is a promise that comes up over and over and over again, that if they would do what God has told them to do, they will see the blessing of God in their lives. And I'm going to bring this out tomorrow even better. But the first thing that starts out chapter 4, as we begin to get into the law a little bit, get into the 10 commandments to start us off, and as Moses focuses on them, the reason is, as the Israelites are about to move into the land and take the land for God, and to dwell in this land that God has promised as an inheritance for Israel, the only way that they're going to keep it, the only way that they're going to win it, is if they follow God and if they obey his commands, if they listen to him and do what he tells them to do. Because the land is the byproduct blessing of their relationship, their ongoing relationship with God already. And so Moses stresses throughout Deuteronomy, you'll see it over and over and over again, do the law, do the law, do the law. Well, why? Because this is how Israel maintains their relationship with God. And I want to just tell you, as New Testament Christians, as believers in the New Testament and in Jesus, this standard of obedience to God's law has never changed. When you look at John, especially, the Gospel of John and John's letters, John stresses the importance of obeying Jesus' commands. In fact, in John 15, Jesus says, "If you love me, you will do what I command." And so love is defined as obedience in John chapter 15. And so this standard has not changed.